And right now, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce your first comedian, your host and MC. He's a writer for Jay Leno and a favorite here at the Comedy Castle. Please welcome Mr. Bill Mihalic.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening. I'm very, very happy to be here with you tonight, even though I had to miss a really wild happy hour up at the Rochester Senior Center. No, really, it's a great deal for guys like me, 50% off all 16-ounce mugs of Mihalic. I'm kind of proud of the fact that at the senior happy hour, I'm known as one of the regulars. Good, we've got a sharp audience tonight. I admit that I'm getting older. I realized it back in January at the Detroit Auto Show. Someone mentioned crossover vehicle, and I immediately thought, hearse. Actually, a hearse is what we call a stage 2 crossover vehicle. Okay? Stage 1, of course, is a Buick. You need to go through the progression. And I got to tell you that getting older has really got me bent out of shape, physically and emotionally. And I don't take much comfort in all those cute little phrases that people throw at me to make me feel better. For example, aging gracefully, right? For me, there's no such thing. For me, aging gracefully is like Angelina Jolie walking in through my front door stark naked. In other words, it's a great concept, but it ain't going to happen. And I got to tell you a true story. By the way, I don't write any of this stuff, okay? These jokes write themselves. I did that routine a few months ago on the same stage, and there was a good-looking couple sitting here at this table, and I thought I'd have a little fun with the guys, so I said, "Sir, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, who needs Angelina Jolie when you've got a beautiful woman like this to walk in through your front door stark naked, right?" And he said, "Well, not really. She's my mother." Honest. Talk about losing an audience. At that moment, every guy in the room flashed on an image of his mother walking in through his front door stark naked. And that image, I'm sure, was etched in their minds the rest of the night. And I would guess that as of today, half those guys are still in therapy. I know I am. Oh, then there's the cute phrase, "Let us grow old together." That wasn't some philosopher talking about love and life. No, that was the guy down at the Sunrise Assisted Living Home talking about how they give discounts for double occupancy. I believe the complete phrase is, "Let us grow old together, it's cheaper." And guys, don't make the mistake I made. One day my wife looked at me with dreamy eyes and said, "Let us grow old together." And I said, "No, that's okay, you go ahead, I'll catch up later." Then there's that time-worn phrase, the golden years. Sure, these are the golden years. These are the years I need to sell all my gold to pay my friggin' medical bills. They should be called the no more golden years. And speaking of medical bills, I can't begin to tell you all the health issues I've been facing as I've gotten older. A few months ago, I went in for my annual physical. You know, I make sure I get one of those every 3 years. And the first thing the nurse does is she measures my height, and I see her right down 5'8". And I say, "Wait a minute, something's wrong here. I'm taller than that." And she said, "No, sir, I'm sorry, but the fact is, as you get older, you shrink." And I said, "Well, I know, but you didn't measure that part." Then she gave me the EKG. You know, it's a fairly straightforward test. She takes all these adhesive back sensors and sticks them everywhere I have body hair. And then after the electronic gizmo does its thing, she yanks them off. And that's the true test of your heart, okay? If you don't go into cardiac arrest when she rips those suckers off along with half your body hair, your heart is good for another 100 years, I guarantee it. Then she gave me the hearing test. She looks at the results and she said, "Well, Mr. Mihalic, you know, you might benefit from a hearing aid." And I said, "No, what I would benefit from is if you would speak a little more clearly, look at me when you talk, and limit yourself to questions that have a yes or no answer." Okay? And I think you understand why that is. If she asks an open-ended question like, "What is, what do I say? Global warming, pepperoni?" I don't have any idea, and I look foolish. But if it's a yes or no type question, and she says, for example, "Do you, blah, 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 blah," then I can fake it and say, yeah, sure. And then not only does she think I know what I'm talking about, but I have a 50-50 chance of being right with my answer. So then she asks, do you want a flu shot? And I say, yeah, sure. She gave me one. Honest to God, a month later I got the flu, so I guess it worked. Then the doctor came in. The first thing he did was that little rubber hammer on the knee test. I don't know why they even bother doing that anymore, because maybe when we were 6 years old, we didn't know what was supposed to happen, but now we know, right? When he taps that knee, that foot is supposed to kick. And if it doesn't, then something's wrong and you're in trouble and there are consequences. Well, I don't know what those consequences are, but I don't want to find out. So I always make sure that when he taps, I kick, even if I have to cheat. This time I messed up. He tapped the right knee, I kicked the left foot. And then he straps on one rubber glove. And guys, that's always a bad sign, right? Puts on that one glove and dips it in the Vaseline, and he says to me, he thinks he's doing stand-up here at the Comedy Castle, and he says, well, here's the part where you get your money's worth. I said, hey, Doc, Blue Cross is paying for this, so do it to them. Which would be ironic, because a procedure somewhat similar to that is what Blue Cross normally does to us, right? So it'd be fair play. Now, I'm going to come back to that part of the exam in a minute, but first I want to tell you that when we wrapped up, he gave me a little kit to take home for the stool specimen. So when I got home, I took care of all that, got it in the envelope, and then on the front of the envelope, honest to God, it says, may require extra postage. How much do they think? But then I think, wait a minute, maybe that's not a bad idea, because there's no way I want this package coming back into my mailbox. So I think I put 5 extra stamps on that sucker. And to be extra safe, I did not put on a return address. If that thing gets lost in the mail, let the post office open it up and try to figure out what it is. Well, getting back to the exam, the part with the rubber glove and all, I had been having some disturbing symptoms that I described to the doctor. And so after that part of the exam, he sat me down and he said, well, Mr. Mihalic, due to a slightly enlarged prostate caused by the aging process, you have what we refer to as weak urinary stream syndrome, WUSS. In medical terms, you're a wuss. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with this condition yet, let me give you a little background. When I was a younger guy, taking a leak wasn't like a leak at all. It was more like a solid stream of water shooting from a high-pressure fire hose, right? Nowadays, it's more like tapping a maple tree to make syrup. Just call me Mr. Butterworth. Yeah, when I was younger, just like all the other guys, I would brag that I could pee the bark off a tree. Now I can't even pee the bark off a dog. And it's a condition that doesn't get a lot of respect. It doesn't generate a lot of sympathy. I mean, have you ever seen a Hallmark card that says, sorry to hear about your weak urinary stream? I don't think so. And it's especially embarrassing around other men. You know, guys, how sometimes in winter we'll drink a lot of beer and then go outside and write our names in the snow? Yeah. Ladies, you know we do that. I mean, where do you think all those yellow words come from? Dogs who can spell? Oh, that's our handiwork. Well, I can no longer make capital letters. About the best I can do now is lowercase 12-point font. That's only if the wind is favorable. All the other guys, they're writing their first name, their last name, their phone numbers, and I'm just standing there grunting, trying to dot the I on Bill. But you know, in spite of all these challenges, I intend to maintain my quality of life as I get older, and I'm developing some product ideas to help me do just that. For example, to compensate for my fading memory, I'm designing a hearing aid with a record and playback function. For stronger bones, I'm having all my cigars laced with calcium. And then there's my personal favorite, bourbon with fiber. Yes. Now I'll be able to drink myself into regularity and oblivion at the same time. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the senior version of multitasking. Thank you very much. Thank you.